A veteran cartoonist for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette has been fired after working for the paper for 25 years. And the reason he got fired was because his cartoons were too anti-Trump. Apparently, there were a number of meetings that he had with the editorial director, Keith Burris, who is very supportive of Donald Trump. And through those meetings, it was abundantly clear that the cartoonist was attacking Trump too much. Now, the cartoonist's name is Rob Rogers, and he said that he was fired after he and the newspaper's management clashed over some sketches critical of President Donald Trump. And we're going to show you some of those sketches in just a moment. He shared this information via Twitter, saying that he was sad to report this update. Today, after 25 years as the editorial cartoonist for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, I was fired. So he knew that there were problems as early as March of this year. That was when Rob Rogers said the paper first started rejecting his cartoon drafts and ideas without explanation. He said, quote, that we were headed for some kind of a compromise or showdown. I didn't know what it was going to be, but it turns out it was a showdown. So since March, the Post-Gazette had axed 19 of his cartoon drafts and proposals without explanation. That's according to Rogers' statement.
I feel like this is he's being very diplomatic when he could be saying, like, where are we, North Korea? Like, this is what they do in dictatorships. They have state-run media where you are not allowed to criticize the government.
So they love to attack cartoonists. Jim Carrey, Rob Rogers, they rejected 6 of his cartoons in a row. He said over 90% of the cartoons that were rejected were about Trump, and the rest were making fun of things like Roseanne Barr, which is kind of related to Trump, et cetera. Keith Burris has written glowing editorials about Donald Trump, and John Block is the conservative publisher of the paper. But at least if you live in Pittsburgh, and I love Pittsburgh, now you know Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is totally biased in favor of conservatives. And by the way, that's okay. All right, so they have a conservative paper, just own it. And you block free speech from the opposite side. And you're not the government, you're allowed to. We're principled on that issue. I hear that Ben Shapiro is going nuts over it because his attack on freedom of speech. Oh no, he's not? Oh, that's weird.
No, the intellectual dark web is very upset about this because they don't want to live in a society where political correctness dominates the conversation. You know, so I'm sure that those individuals are very concerned that they're going to fight for this cartoonist. Yeah, right. Anyway, I love how they pretend to be these martyrs or something. But look, my concern is this isn't an isolated incident, right? So we have media consolidation like never before, right? With the merger of AT&T and Time Warner. We have Sinclair Broadcasting Group, which of course own a giant number of local news stations throughout the country. They don't just lean conservative, they are conservative. They have must-air segments that support all sorts of pro-Trump propaganda.
In their news programs.
In their news programs, in local news programs, which is just devastating. And now you have people getting fired for their political views in various papers throughout the country. This is scary. It's scary when you put it in the context of who Trump is, the type of affinity he has for dictators and authoritarianism. I just worry about how quickly we're devolving into a society that doesn't actually value our rights, our Constitution, as much as we used to.
And this shouldn't even be about politics. I mean, it's like the #1 rule in satire is you punch up. Yeah. You don't punch down, you punch up. Who's up right now? Guess what? The president and the Republicans are up right now. So if you're punching up, that's who you're punching.
It's a move across all fronts toward an oligarchical system where plurality is not celebrated. And in every respect, it's the rule by a few and one person's opinion rather than bringing in the masses and being a democracy.
And this is the definition of political correctness. You did not do cartoons that were politically correct, so you have been fired, okay? Next time, funny man, don't be so funny. And by the way, he didn't get fired during the Obama administration. You punch up during Democrats, totally fine. You punch up during the Republicans, well, that's not politically correct. so you're fired. By the way, the cartoons were excellent.
They were so funny.
And
Yeah, we
so
have
we're going to show you
examples.
the cartoons, but isn't the job of a cartoonist to do cartoons?
So these
mocking
are
power,
These are the cartoons that were rejected. So there you have Donald Trump,
laying a wreath at truth, honor, and rule of law.
which is accurate, by the way.
That's him snatching a kid. Look, that's the whole point. It's political cartoons.
This one is my favorite one.
The KKK guy going, could it be the Ambien? And closed for racial sensitivity training is Starbucks, and closed for racial ignorance training is the NFL. And so look, whether you agree or disagree with a cartoon, I've seen a million political cartoons that were not of my political leaning. I didn't go, oh, that guy should be fired for making fun of people. That's his job. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.